Good morning and welcome to Our Town at Common Coffee. This morning we're going to be talking with Pete Livermore, who's running for District 40 Assembly seat. But right now we're going to take a short break for a word from our sponsor.
What's the role of a healthcare system? Is it to make you better when you're sick? To mend you when you're injured? Are you ready to live healthier? Start today at herestoyourhealth.net, a free service of Carson Tahoe Regional Healthcare.
And we're back talking with Pete Livermore. Hi, Pete. How's it going this morning?
It's a pleasure being here today, and you know, I really appreciate you having me on. I am that candidate for Assembly District 40 on the Republican side, and I do have a couple of other opponents in the primary election. But you know, I'm here to answer whatever questions you may have and see if I can, you know, establish the bar going into this election of the appropriate candidate that hopefully people will endorse. Okay.
Well, first off, just, you know, for people who don't know you, I mean, you've been around for a long time. You've been serving for, I think, 16 years or 12 years on the 12 years on the.
Yeah. I'm into my 12th year as a Board of Supervisors, Ward 3. I've been elected 3 times to that. I'm currently, as I said, serving my final year of that. I'm also, at the same time, I'm the chairman of the Board of Carson Tahoe Regional Healthcare System, and I've been there for 15 years, Kurt. And the other thing in my background that I've had, I've been a small business owner. I've owned small businesses in Carson City for 35 years, and I retired from that. My full commitment now is to, you know, the service of public service and supervisor, which is wrapping up to me, and hopefully my next opportunity to continue serving the citizens of Carson City as their representative in the Assembly this next 2011 year.
Yeah. So now, I mean, this is an interesting time to jump into the state government because the budget problems they have are quite even more than what the city was facing. So
yeah. Well, see, that's what makes my candidacy so important. I believe if you look at the credentials of, at least in the Republican side of the primary, I bring the leadership of 20 years plus my small business operation of 35 years. I bring that to this Assembly seat, and I believe that when I hit that floor, I'm ready to go. Although, you know, I still need to work with the caucus and the components of that. I don't propose to be just running amok in that place, and I need to follow within party lines and follow behind the leadership of the Assembly and especially the minority, because I'm not sure right now that we're going to be able to overtake the Democrats in a statewide election. But I'm hopefully optimistic that we can make big inroads in that. Currently there's 28 Democrats and 14 Republicans, so that would have to be somewhat of a total shift of almost a large portion of that. That's why I say that.
So now, so what is the main issue that you would like to, I mean, that you think that you can bring to?
Well, as I describe myself as not only a community leader, but as a businessman, what this economy right now, it's all about the economy, Kurt. It's about jobs, jobs, and jobs. And what my candidacy is about eliminating the requirements or the regulations that hamper small business development and hamper just business operations as a whole. I want to make sure that they have an equal footing basis to be able to sustain themselves and to exist and move on.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to take a short break right now, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Folks all over Carson City are getting to know Jack, Carson City's public transit system that takes them to work, to home, to friends, and to shopping. Folks like Greg, who attends Western Nevada Community College. Greg knows Jack.
Oh, I can go anywhere in town with it at any occasion, and it's very convenient, and I enjoy it very much.
Get to know Jack. $1 each way for adults, 50 cents for youth, seniors, and disabled. Call Jack at 841-RIDE.
And we're back, and we're talking with Pete Livermore, and the big issue in state government coming into this next term is going to be the budget. You know, the $3 billion plus hole sitting there. Now, how do you fill that and still have a functioning system,
well,
I guess.
I'm not sure exactly how you fill it, but there's certain things that I don't want to fill it with. So one of the things I don't want to fill it with is a gross receipt tax on businesses, as we described in the early segment. I believe a gross business tax, in particular on small businesses and medium-sized businesses, is very detrimental to the creation of jobs. If we can't put this economy back to work, then there's no way the state budget is going to grow. Because what we need to do is we need to develop the private sector. Well, once we get that private sector up and going, I believe the public sector will follow close behind that. I don't think you can do one without the other. That's the process that needs to take place.
So, you know, is the solution going to be finding some tax revenue that can go into this, or is it all about cutting?
Well, first of all, what I want to do is, before we start talking about new revenue and new tax streams, I want to look at the inefficiency of whatever departments that is. And I am one to say that if a department isn't functioning correctly, if they don't provide the necessary means of public service, then they don't need to exist. And at that point in time, I believe I'm there ready to cut that department and wean it and use those monies that it takes to operate that in a better mode and fashion. So that's what I'm going to do.
Now, education makes up a big part of the state budget.
That's correct.
And to fill this hole without some new taxes is probably going to have to require some education cuts if it comes to that.
Yes, it will
be.
So? And you know, what I'm hearing from my constituents, from what I'm going on here, is understand the public education system, how it functions, and how it is. I think we had in Carson City, we've had this thing about charter schools. There's under the design, and right now a new charter high school, which is the replacement of Silver State in Carson City. And I believe I'm a proponent of vouchers and of giving families and people the choices. Until we put competition out there, until we make this thing on a level like business operates, if you don't function and you don't do well, then you shouldn't be in existence. I believe that parents that have the ability to find the most qualified, the quality of an education component for themselves, for their children, that's what I want to do. I want to make sure, before we just run out there and start levying taxes on gaming, taxes on mining, wherever else is, I want to make sure that we have the needs and the necessities to give a fair opportunity for families and parents to look at what elements are there.
Now, I'm not sure how I see the vouchers being, at least especially a short-term solution, because there's certainly not enough private and charter schools out there to be able to take things up. But in terms of the short-term $3 billion budget hole, how do you?
Well, I'm not sure we need. I'm not sure we need $3 billion.
Okay.
Governor Gibbons has done, however you want to look at it, view it, but he's reduced the size of government. Okay. And again, it's not my emphasis to go sit in that chair in that assembly room over there and just to say what we need to do is we need to raise taxes and bring it back to what it was before. We need to be smart. We need to look at smart government. We need to figure out, let's fund what we got to do, and let's fund what's appropriate. And then after that, let's talk about options about how new revenue could be and how those new revenues may apply.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for coming on and talking with us.
Thank you, and have me back again, Corey. I'm very pleased that you made this time available to me.
All right, thank you, and thank you for tuning in. Catch us next time on Our Town at Common Coffee.
When you walk into a Charlie's Grilled Subs, you walk back in time when subs were made from scratch with premium meats, real dairy cheese, delicious breads, and very fresh vegetables. At Charlie's, what you see is what you get. Grilled live, right in front of you. Nothing pre-cooked or pre-assembled. It's just all good.
It's delicious.
So when you want a fresh, healthy blast from the past, visit Charlie's at the east entrance to the Carson Mall. Your tummy will thank you.